We want to just be like at every stage, not only in the early stage, 5 years from now, 3 years from now. I want to be that founder that's just listening and empathetic and constantly curious. And I think that's what Ben and I both have, is just a curiosity that we'll apply and ask our customers what they want.
Talking about the building in public piece, I'm an advisor in a company called Avello, and he spent 2 years in stealth, and now he's like very public about the way that he is building. And I love the building in public piece. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's a great way to build brand. It's a great way to build long-term and loyal customers and followers. And particularly in this era of like creators as brands or creator-led brands, like the ability for a person to tell a story and then have a product to transact with their audience, whether you have an audience of 1,000 people or 100,000 people, or you're Mr. Beast selling, your chocolates at Walmart kind of a thing. How do you think about that, and how intentional are you with the building in public aspect of it? And maybe you do, or maybe you don't consider yourself creators, but like you're creating in public, which I would define as being a creator.
Exactly. Yeah.
The only thing I'd say, like, the first thing I'd say about that is I wish we did more of it earlier on. Yeah. Like we've been able to hold each other accountable to do more of it. It's definitely not like a natural thing to just like, whip my phone out every single day and do it. But like, I do see the need, and it's becoming more fun and just a super important piece, like back to the brand marketing like side of things. That like, I just know like as a consumer, like I'm not going to buy something unless I
connection.
Exactly. And like, I just think like as the saturation increases, like differentiation is just necessary to stay alive. And this is one great way to do it. So yeah, we're still figuring that out, but I think like we've gotten really positive feedback around like honestly the level of vulnerability in some of the reels of like, this is difficult. This is how we work with our manufacturers. Like this is the process of pivoting away from CBD, things like that.
Yeah. I think it's incredibly important. Even it's an interesting question you posed. Like I might even feel a little bit of resistance towards it's an identity-based statement of I am a creator, but now
depends how you define it.
But it depends how you define it. It's the same thing of like I am a runner. Like runners have an interesting relationship with identification of them being a runner, and will qualify their level of commitment. Yeah. I'm an amateur, and we all have that, and we are too, like just relatively humble guys and don't want to overstep, but I think we've gotten enough reps in where it's on us, for us to take Live Cushy to the level we both want to, and to achieve those goals, we're going to need to step into new versions of our creator selves and be even more comfortable. Like Ben, it's small progress, but Ben posted a Instagram story. It was a 10 to 15 second clip after our run today. And basically we're intentionally trying to just create more, post what people want to hear and connect and learn from. And I think there's a lot of curious runners and people who have these ambitions to start ideas and don't know where to start. And I think that's the niche I'm particularly interested to continuously create, and trying to reverse engineer to be like, what are the problems I was experiencing a month ago and are working through? And even this podcast is a perfect platform for us to just talk about the process. But to Ben's point, the lesson we want to learn and then apply moving forward is to create more, to share more behind the scenes learnings, processes. We're launching the next SKU we're going to launch is a natural deodorant, and we're trying to be very intentional with bringing our early followers, our early community members or customers in for the journey, and giving them a seat at the table to inform on scent, to give us feedback. So it's just like anything in life. There's dozens of lessons that Ben and I are trying to keep each other accountable with, to just apply moving forward.
Yeah, it's a fascinating process, and you've chosen like some of the more difficult products, as we were talking about yesterday, to start with. So you build the trust of Body Glide or anti-chafe.
Yeah.
I'm going to get sued here.
Yeah.
Kleenex. You build it with the anti-chafe and the deodorant, which are outside of maybe suntan lotion, like the two products that might be hardest. And then maybe you move towards body wash and soaps and things like that. And it was fascinating because I had been looking for a better for you deodorant, like right when you guys launched this. And so we had a long conversation about like, why are there no deodorants that work and are good for you? Like, right? Like all of the things that we grew up using are full of aluminum. And if you look at the statistics for women, like putting aluminum right near their breasts is a great recipe for breast cancer. and all these other problems that can come from putting metals into our body. But the metals work and allow the antiperspirant function to exist. And so it's just like, it's fascinating. Like, why do we have a category where the only products that work are horrible for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the short answer is like they're effective, they're cheaper, and they can be like produced at scale. Our first SKU is all organic. Like that took a lot more.
It smells amazing. It
does smell pretty good.
Eucalyptus. It's too bad that we can't like do a little scratch and sniff here, but trust us or buy some.
Yeah. and to Ben, it's really interesting. Like the human nose can just detect good scent. It's like the body knows that it's organic eucalyptus oil and not a synthetic fragrance.
Right.
And it's just the most consistent theme of feedback that people really do enjoy the scent, and something we're being intentional with to infuse similar scents into future products.
Yeah, like I think there's shortcuts everywhere, right? Like it would have been easy for us to like source off Alibaba and like throw a logo on it. And like we spent a year tinkering with this, and I can go into a deep dive, like that process of like,
What was that process like?
Yeah, so we basically we worked with 30 different contract manufacturers over a year and a half, and Adam, one of his strengths is like being very measured, and like I can't tell you how many times like I would call him and be like, this next batch is it. Like I know it's gonna work, and then I would like try and convince myself that it was working, and then I'd have to go on a run and be like, it's not working. Like this isn't it. So it was basically like getting a package, trying it out, giving it to people, gathering feedback and like applying it with like typically chemists at these labs
Internationally.
So we were really firm on wanting to do made domestically. So everything is made in the US.
Oh, so tariffs now are not a problem for you.
We're figuring that out.
Well, no, it's like a no and. No, not our product specifically, but even though our product is entirely made in the U.S., there's still like our manufacturer has to absorb the risk.
The plastics.
And so some of the containers are. But just like to finish that thought on the quality of stuff, like it took us more time and more money because of the fact that we wanted to like produce everything here. So yeah, just like it was an exhausting process, but one that like now we have the formula down. It's like future SKUs and iterations. I think we have like the systems in place to like really crush it.
Yeah. And it forced us to like, this is no BS, just to love the process. And we don't, every single day there's just inevitable ups and downs, just like in life, just like in running. And we really were tested maybe at like the month 9, month 10, month 11, when we had nothing to show for our work. It was good to have a grounded friend who understood just the principles of hard work.
What did that feel like when you had nothing to show for it? But do you really feel like you had nothing to show for it?
At times, sure. At times, yeah. I mean, at the end, it was just like you'd have moments of being like, what are we doing here? But not really. I didn't dwell on that. I don't know if you did. But I think that's where, there's a couple like Friday conversations, particularly on Fridays, like disappointing conversations where we realized our vision of launch. Like we delayed our launch date, delayed several times. We came very close to placing our first order for a couple thousand SKUs with a CBD blend. But once we ran our models and looked at some of the microprocessing costs, as well as had to just look each other in the eye and have a conversation around what we wanted to like rest our hat on and how confident we felt in this blend. And then that delayed launch another couple months. But we didn't, I don't know, maybe there's a couple pivotal moments where we just said like, hey, let's take a night and regroup. And then the next day we would regroup, have taken the time to process and communicate through it. And ultimately we got to a better strategic move or better next step because of that. So
yeah. And add like the credit to add to that, like kind of like no sudden movements. Like it really is like in those moments of, a manufacturer falling through, like numbers not being accurate, like from them, it's just, it can be a headache and like it's just kind of endlessly frustrating, but it all goes to just like finding partners that like you can call and be like, where is this order at? Where are these things at? Like is worth the world. So we have that now, which is great.
Cool. So the business model is interesting, right? Because you have a effectively $20 product that people buy once or twice a year. And so the retail focus is important because kind of hard to justify paying for shipping and buying multiple products to offset the shipping cost. So how do you think about rollout and adding additional SKUs and products so that you can level up that $20 to $60 so that you can include free shipping, for example.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. There's several different ways you could think about that. To bring it back to what we were just talking about, expansion of products and SKUs. There are certain types of products like the natural deodorant that we feel confident. We're going through that R&D process right now that we can just make a slightly cleaner, better product that works a little bit better and has some brand affinity that people will need. You depending on how heavy you chafe and your chafing needs, you likely will still apply a deodorant more and hopefully take showers every day. And
Sure
that's my perspective, especially if you're running as much as we tend to do. So that expansion piece is really big. And then, Ben and I for now are bootstrapping this and have some, at the moment, capital constraints. So like we wanted to build the brand slowly and steadily and get the right base underneath ourselves before we expand outwards. So it's forced us to be intentional. I want to say slow down, but just be intentional and measured in how we expand out. But ultimately, it's allowed us the time to just stay close to our customers, do our first activation at the LA Marathon, get a ton of feedback, and just be intentional, which has been really nice.
And going back to the point of community, right? Like if we built a brand just on an anti-chafing product, it would take us a while to, gain critical mass of like just people who chafe.
You need a lot of people.
Exactly. So like it really is about, how can we make the pie bigger through things like deodorant. We talked about, wipes, a body wash. So like the idea and vision here and something that over the next year, we're going to, be putting our heads down on is like, what does the adventure stack look like? What does the person who moves every day need, to keep themselves going, basically.
Yeah.
So for those who are listening, like think about all the different stuff that you buy on a monthly, annual, bi-monthly, whatever basis. I like buying stuff from the same place. I like the uniformity and brand and logos and like, I use Huron for body wash and shampoo and conditioner. And I like the blues and the whites and I like it, the same bottles and it's uniform and the brand is the same. And it's just like, I'm such a nerd, but like, that's how I buy.
Yeah. That's how people do buy. They want something consistent. They want something they can trust and they want simplicity and a one-stop shop. So give us some time, but we hope to be that for the runners and everyday movers. And I would say if anyone is listening and like has a pain point, has something they do want, feel free to like message us on Instagram. Like,
how do you take customer feedback with a grain of salt, but also in an inform decisions?
Yeah, it was so interesting. The morning we launched, so I like, as I mentioned, we hit post and then I went out for a run and I remember
millions in sales by the time you finish your 8 miles.
Exactly. Yeah. And we got a voice note from this guy. I don't know if you remember this. Yeah. And it was like some random guy who had followed the account. And he was like, I just want to let you know, no one gives a shit that this is organic. Like, trust me, like I'm a CPG expert, like just like good luck, like or whatever. And I opened it on my run, which also a massive mistake. And it like definitely was like a bit of a dagger for a second, but like, did that influence any decision we made? Like, no, I know that there's a massive cohort of people who do care because like that's what we researched for a while. But it was a helpful perspective of like, okay, like maybe we don't need to over rotate on this one thing. Like, how can we not exclude the people who may not buy it for the organic reason, right? Like there's other things. It smells good, it goes on easier, it's waterproof, like all of these things.
Candidly, like I don't care, right?
Yeah,
like, if you tell me it's better for you, that's the terminology that I care about. I don't know if organic matters or not. Like, you should tell me if it matters or not.
100%. Well, I think, and that's what it's not the privilege, but like, it's the beautiful thing of being like listening with open ears is we've been able to pattern match and we consistently ask and are open, even if we'll place a little bit of judgment or you try to remove your bias and just listen fully. And I think that's what the best businesses do. They listen fully and then they deliver on what their customers want. And the natural deodorant was something we'd kicked off the initial part of R&D, but even at the LA Marathon launch, we had dozens of people coming up to one of our collateral pictures where somebody was applying the anti-chafe on the sports bra because the feedback we receive is that's the most common place.
I do that for the vest that I wear.
Yeah, exactly. The vest as well. And because we heard that pattern so many times, we took it more seriously. And then that next week kicked off the conversation with our manufacturer to accelerate those timelines. So I think we want to just be like at every stage, not only in the early stage, 5 years from now, 3 years from now, I want to be that founder that's just listening and empathetic and constantly curious. And I think that's what Ben and I both have, is just a curiosity that we'll apply and ask our customers what they want